up too. So, all right, let's get this pulled out here. So, what got you interested in coaching?
So I think it was, I know I put on my thing, but like I basically had played Mercy for a long time, ever since season 4 of Overwatch 1 was when I started it, because no one played support, so I
Right.
played it.
Welcome to the club.
Yep. And then I just liked it. It was a very unique play style from every other hero, and I enjoyed it. And other people thought I was good at the good at the time, so I kept playing it. I was progressing, but I just kind of was like not up there for how I thought I was. So I was like, okay, and I think it was like after like 250 hours of the hero, I'm like, okay, clearly I must be doing something wrong. If I'm not like higher up, or still in like plat or something. So
Right.
that's why I started getting it. So I've been coached by like other coaches before, but I'm at the point now where I think it's more of like a mental thing.
Sure.
Because I've had times where I think I play pretty well, but I get pretty focused. Not necessarily, although trying to, I think better from like game to game, but I'll make like dumb mistakes where I'm just like, oh come on, like I'm better than that, and then or just some really dumb thing happens, like I just get solo ulted. It's like yeah, cool, but it just like basically it piles on, or sometimes I'll just like die because I'm like resetting, but then I'll like look like later into like I'll check stats, like I'll tab to see how it's doing. I'll be like, what the heck, I have 5 deaths or something.
Yeah.
But then it leads to like choking like last fights or mistake. It just kind of spirals basically.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's tough because like you look at like games, right, and just like activities, and you're like tic-tac-toe. Can you play tic-tac-toe perfectly? Yes, you can. It is possible. Could you play checkers perfectly? Yeah, you could. Could you play chess perfectly? I don't know. Maybe it's theoretically possible, right? And you kind of see where I'm going with this, right? Where like as you start to expand and get to more and more and more complex games, like you're playing, and I've played a lot of different games. This might be the most complicated game I've ever played. And not just the most complicated, but the most intense, stressful, and ADHD. You have to track 3 trillion things at the same time, and Mercy is perfect for that, right? So I guess it's like, it's not just like you said, being able to improve and setting goals and improving better, but being able to live with your own mistakes that unfortunately are never going to go away, at least in full.
Yeah.
You know? Because the worst thing you could do is be like, oh, well, I'm doing this or I'm feeding this and that. And then you're like getting upset, or not even upset, just distracted from that. And you're like, oh, gee, like now I'm not really focusing on what I need to do next because I'm too busy thinking about the things that I screwed up earlier. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
So you're diamond at the time of the form. Where are you at right now?
Because I think that was like literally a couple weeks when I got back in.
Yeah.
I'm now plat 3.
Okay.
So
okay. And
which
then
I understood was gonna happen.
Yeah, it happens. How long have you been playing the game?
Ever since 2 weeks of release.
Okay.
I've taken a lot of breaks since, either because I just got sick of the game, or they've done stuff that I didn't like, or just genuinely played other games.
Yeah, sure.
Came out with other stuff. But
yeah, it makes sense. Like some positives, some negatives. What were the negatives you said? You got sick of the game, so the things they did that you didn't like?
Usually, I think it's when I end up leaving it, and more often than not, it's because of the game itself. Was because like I would just play a lot of comp, and I think the biggest thing for me was I always like, because I had that goal of wanting to be really high up, but I think the problem that I'm noticing is that like I focus too much on like SR, and even though it's all changed to this new system, like I still know, like, because I've been around forever, I know how it works. Like you win, you gain, you go up, you lose, you go down. So I'm trying to like, I would focus more on just trying to win, and it would, because of that, distract, I guess, from things that I should be doing instead.
Right. It's tricky. I think like it's tricky because like we want to win. Everyone wants to win. It's just the nature of playing the game. Like it's impossible not to want to win. But I think it's like finding ways to not necessarily minimize that, but maximize your enjoyment from other things instead. Right?
Yeah.
And that's obviously easier easier said than done. Okay, so now why Mercy? Because you talked about like, okay, I kind of got bullied into the support role because that was my path too. That's why I started playing main tank and support, is because everyone wanted to play DPS. I remember before role queue, these kids don't remember. But you stayed playing Mercy. Why?
Yeah. I think a part of it, I might have mentioned it in there as well, but like I think another one was just trying to break the model, because a lot of people would be like, oh, like you got to get like, you need like some insane duo or something to carry you or whatnot. And then I kind of believed that at first, but then like I think I saw like what ML7 do like unranked GM, and I was like, yeah, like he's just cracked. So, but then I saw other people doing it as well, so I was like, okay, clearly, like, and they're all solo queuing it, so I'm like, okay, cool. So clearly, you don't need a duo, like you could do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I tried to do that.
Okay, makes sense. But why Mercy? So as you said, like it's kind of like a challenge of like I want to do it. But I assume
Yeah.
that you also just enjoy playing Mercy.
Oh yeah, I just enjoy it.
Okay.
I think it's unique. I don't think there's anything else you can. It's not like any other hero, in
Yeah,
my
that's
opinion.
true. Yeah, she's very unique in that aspect. What aspects do you like? The healing, the movement, the
There's a lot
resurrection?
to it. I think just having to handle a lot of things, but I think it's yeah, I think it's hard to explain, but I guess it's more like I've always been more of the assist type person. So like I'd rather just like damage boost like someone else to help them win the 1v1,
Yeah,
or like heal them to make sure that they can keep like going, rather than like making flashier plays, I guess, myself.
makes sense. Makes sense. Okay. Um, looking through here, you're planning on playing at least 3 to 4 days a week until this coaching session happens, though, to get back into things. How's that been going?
Pretty good. I mean, it helps when I don't have really anything. I know I went on vacation for a week, but other than that, I'm pretty much played
Right.
it most of the days.
Okay. Okay. And
And
it
I'd say I
says
get in like like 5 to 8 games on
that's
average.
really good. Okay, so like 2 hours somewhere around that vicinity.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's around 3 to 4 days a week, 5 days a week.
Yeah, it was like 3 to 4.
Okay,
So,
sounds good. And then you got back from season 3. What happened in season 3?
so there's not a lot at all. uh, well, so I left season 3, I think, because they made the PV changes, but I think also just because I got sick of Overwatch 2, or at least for it was hard to transition, and I felt more like I couldn't do much compared to like Overwatch 1. Mainly, I think just because the game plays a lot differently,
Okay.
and it
Okay.
was different from the way that I played it. Um, but yeah, I just felt like a lot more useless. So that was kind of why I started to drift away from it. Like I felt like I wasn't making an impact.
Got it. Got it. Okay. What are your long-term, short-term goals? Obviously, we talked a little bit about the Grandmaster thing on Mercy, but short-term right now, I'm working on awareness and knowing where everything is along with beam targeting. I saw a couple of your videos on those, so I'm just using those as a guide right now. I'm also trying to be more aware with res, as I tend to sometimes just blindly go res. Long-term, would like to hit Grandmaster. I think it's not really something I think a lot of people have done. I've always had this feeling deep down that I knew it was possible. That and then consistently stay in Grandmaster, because I've seen a lot of other players stay in and out, but I only know a very few that actually stay. I love to be in that spot of one of the greats. Okay. I'm going to be honest with you right now. With the amount of playtime that you're getting right now, it's possible to hit the Grandmaster. It's just going to be tough. The reason I want that to be put out is because we always put bad news first. The good
Yeah,
news is that if you're playing, what is it, around 8 hours per week,
yeah,
and you're doing so over around 3 to 4 days, that is good
yeah,
enough to improve from where you are right now if you give it the right quality. The quantity is there. Is it going to be enough to get you to Masters? I don't know. But it's going to be at least get enough to get you to Diamond and consistently Diamond, right? I
yeah.
just had a session previously with a top 500 player, and we were talking a lot about what amount of play time is necessary to improve. And I actually think that it may not be as much as people think. I think I'm not confident in saying that right now. It's something I'm still experimenting with a lot of my own play and some of the sessions that I'm doing. But basically, it's more about here's the takeaway. It's about how focused and how involved you are during the session. and during not the coaching session, but the play sessions that you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily how many that you're doing. Now, I will say some non-negotiables is playing at least 3 to 4 games when you do play. I think that's probably a good ballpark to aim for. And then I also think that the more you spread out those sessions, the better. Like if you're able to play 4 days instead of 3, 5 days instead of 4, 6 days instead of 5, and so on. Even if you're playing fewer and fewer games, that's better. So I'd rather
more days, less time. Okay.
Yeah. So like what I would do is that I would get myself alert and awake, and even if it's just 3 or 4 games, but you're doing it over more days, that my heart says that that's better. My experience and my gut and knowing other skills that I have done besides Overwatch, that generally should check out. And what I would do is don't assume it will. Go test it and find out.
Okay.
You know, because everyone's different, right?
Yeah.
Just go see if it works for you. That might be something to experiment with, because if you can give me that intensity for 2 or 3 games in a row and do that over a couple more days, that will more often than not help you more than what we're doing here.
Yeah, mine was more like a schedule, or at least like an idea or a plan.
Yeah. And obviously everyone's schedule's different, right? So I understand. It's not everyone's like a high school student.
I usually have like I'd say like 2 to 3 hours every night.
Okay.
Usually.
Okay.
Or I sleep, or just in general.
Sure.
That I see for myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can definitely fit that in.
Okay. Give it a shot. Like I said, just try it for 2 or 3 weeks. I'd say 2 or 3 weeks, and then see how it goes. Then tweak it around, see if it works. You know, it's going to depend on each person. Okay, and then warm up, probably not as important with Mercy. Maybe there's some sort of Mercy custom game out there that lets you practice your movement text. I mean, the key thing would be to be able to do your super jumps and your slingshots without thinking, essentially.
I can do that.
Yeah, okay. Well, then you're probably good to go. Now, what do you feel is holding you back from improving? You say one thing is my ADD is that I can't do much about it, but it's very hard when I'm trying to focus on learning something, and then my brain just for a while forgets about it and just plays the game. I think the other one. Okay, let's actually stop right there. So first off, that's why we want to consider trying fewer games more days, right? So that you have a little bit more energy, a little bit more focus for those games, not necessarily to control the ADD, but to channel it, if that makes any sense. Because you need to have like ADD to play this game. You do. You need to be able to quickly change your focus from, hey, bam, 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 or what do they say? The other way of ADD is hyperfixation. That's also very useful in this game as well. But you need to be able to, again, rein it in and channel it in the right direction. And if you start to feel more fatigued, less focused, not enjoying things as much, then you're going to have a hard time using that.
Okay.
And I think I actually just did a video on this called the 2-fight rule. And it's basically about people like you and me who are busy and have busy schedules and are working or doing this and that. And it's like, I can't keep focused for an entire game because I'm tired by the time I play, or you have ADD or whatever else. That's very normal. Most people are like that. Okay. So what you do, I'll send you the video link, but I'll give the TLDR here.
I watched it.
Okay, so there you go. So you probably already know where I'm going with this, right? Don't try to focus on whatever you need to focus on for the entire game. Focus for 2 or 3 fights, right? 2 or 3 fights. And the next game, take a quick break while you're in queue, move around, shake it out, slap yourself up the face a couple times, drink some Drano, and then, do it again, right? That set the bar at a reasonable level and make it productive, as you can improve just playing the game as long as at least a portion of that game is full intensity. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I think the other one is I have 500 hours in here, which means I can do things right, but also means I probably have bad habits I need to break. Makes sense. I think the last would be my mentality during games individually. I tend to do fine from game to game. Like I won't care about what happened last game, but sometimes I'll just make a dumb mistake and it lives with me through the game I'm playing, which feels like I've led me choking last fight. So you'll screw up on like a res, or you'll miss position, or you'll pocket the wrong person, and it gets in your brain and it just sits. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I legit had one where I lost one. I think it was on, oh god, I don't remember the map. It's one of the newer ones, but I just straight forgot to heal like Ramattra and just died in front of me.
Yeah.
And then I was very hesitant on resing it because I didn't want to choke it, but looking back, I definitely could have rezzed it
Yeah,
easily,
yeah,
but then I
yeah.
didn't,
So,
and
so
then
you
it
made
led
a
to
bad read because you're too busy about the bad read that just happened.
yeah. Or
That's
I think
all.
because I was like, I was going into it like I knew it was last fight, so I'm like very like, okay, don't mess this up. I'm like looking everywhere, and I miss like
Right.
Ramacho's critical.
Right. Now, here's the important question. Is the don't mess this up, like that fixation, and maybe it's a little bit of both. Is it from your fear of, oh, I'm going to be the reason why we lose this game, or frustration that you're not performing how you ought to?
Uh, hmm.
Maybe it's
Might be
both.
more. Yeah, it might be both. Maybe more of the first one, but
Okay.
I think more of both in a sense.
Okay. The first one is tricky because you're like, you don't want to be the guy that lost you the game. But you also have to be objective and be like, everybody is the reason why you lost a game, right? At the level that you're
Yeah,
playing, yes, people will have bad games and people will have good games, but you're playing at a high plat level. Nobody
yeah,
deserves to be in mid diamond, right? Nobody, not in that lobby, right? So them losing one game because you muffed a res, what if we reviewed their POV? You know what I'm saying? They'd make just as many
yeah,
mistakes as you would. So nobody deserves anything, right? Nobody deserves anything. You get the rank that you get, that's it, right? So I wouldn't worry about that. You're not screwing anybody over out of a rank or anything like that. It doesn't matter. And the problem with that is if you're scared of losing that, you're not going to be willing to take risks and try things out, which is what you need to do to improve. You need to be
yeah,
okay with, like, let's put it this way. If you got to keep gambling, right? Right?
yeah.
You got to be willing to like think about it like an investment, not gambling, right?
Not a
You're
fun
gonna
thing to like do.
you're gonna have to take money out of the bank to put it into your investment. You're going to be poor,
Yeah,
right? But long term, if you made a wise or a conservative investment, things are going to get better. You have to be willing to look stupid occasionally for you to be improved.
yeah.
That's tough, though.
I've noticed that because I after the first week because I tried doing like three things and I was like, okay, probably shouldn't be doing all three. So I
Mm-hmm.
fixed beam targeting because in my past stuff they always would teach me or they wanted me to improve on like a lot of like awareness or
Sure.
actually planning GAs and using them right. So like, that was fine. But I noticed like for beam priority was one I never really understood until I watched I think a couple of your videos on like for Hudapak and stuff. So I tried to do focus more on that because I was usually just was given like heal people critical and damage boost DPS,
Yeah.
which was just the basics of it, but it wasn't obviously perfect. Uh, which I feel like was another thing is because I have like very good survivability, but then of course if I'm not pocketing the right person, then I'm not getting the value, and I feel like that's also where
Exactly.
some
A lot of people will tell
value
you
is
that
lost.
not dying is Mercy's value, but that's only half right. And if you fixate on that,
Yeah,
then you're not going to be doing enough because you also have very high survivability. So you need to find that balance where I'm leveraging my survivability and trying to cut down on my deaths. It's a perfect balance, right? Because if you
yeah,
focus too much on leveraging my survivability, you'll pocket DPS in situations where you shouldn't, and you'll die. Or a tank, right? You'll go
yeah,
in too deep thinking that, oh, I can just super jump this. No, you can't. Stop, right? Or you'll play too passively because you remember, I can't die, right? You have to be willing to make mistakes and find that
yeah,
balance, right? On either end of the spectrum.
yeah, yeah. Where it's like
Yeah, go ahead.
that, and then I don't pocket like I don't know someone like a soldier taking a different route or something.
Right,
Where yeah,
right.
or like he's a little far away, but he's kind of close enough, but he's fighting someone else, and it's like if I can get to him and help him instead, like it could be more value than just staying with the team.
So what do you do in
Type
those
of thing. I don't know.
circumstances, right? Like that's a perfect circumstance because even in
Yeah.
the way that you're describing it, you're like, I don't know, should I go or should I not? So what should you do?
I've been starting to more go after it, which I think is more of a risk, of course, ones that I'm not used to taking anymore. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
ever since I've returned, I'm trying to. I
Sure.
felt more confident and stuff,
Sure.
but
Sure. But
trying
you
to. It's just a different approach, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah.
But here's a thought. Is that good limit testing? Is seeing opportunities and just going for them?
Yeah, I would say it sounds pretty good.
Sure, it's pretty good, but you're only 3/4 of the way there. Because what happens if you die? What happens if you fail? Was it the right play or was it the wrong play? What's to learn?
Well, then it would be bad. thing.
Well, maybe.
Although
Maybe they just hit a crazy shot. Maybe that's more often than not the correct play, but you got punished for it. Unlucky. That's okay. Go next fight.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was a stupid play. So how can you tell the difference between, because the whole point of limit testing is to learn. It's not to play more aggressively. It's to learn. So if you go for an aggressive res and you die, you don't go, oh, I was limit testing. No, stop. What did you learn? Right? And if you don't know the answer to that, then you're not learning. You kind of see what I'm saying? So like, let's say you fly to your soldier. Let's say you pocket the soldier, but the enemy Ana hits a nade on the soldier and you die for it. Okay?
Yeah.
What can you learn from that? Do you not pocket a soldier when the enemy Ana has nade? No, that's absurd, right? I mean, that makes no sense, right? But here's a question. Did you know who had sightlines on you when you flew to the soldier? I know I'm creating this weird theoretical scenario, but kind of follow me. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Here's another question. You pocket a soldier, okay, or like let's put it this way. You pocket a Winston. He dives in aggressively. Not always something you're going to be pocketing. He pops primal rage, you die.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Did you know that he had primal rage? So what you do when you limit test is you need to don't hesitate when you go for opportunities, but don't just make the mistake and don't learn. You need to make the mistake, adjust, take the feedback, do it again.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Do be afraid of making the same mistake twice. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's hard to do though, because you can't just say, oh, I don't pocket a DPS or I don't pocket anything. Well, why did it fail? Why did the resurrect fail? You know?
Yeah.
Aggressive reses are good. Aggressive reses are bad. Why are they good? Why are they bad? It depends on the periphery. And those are the skills that you need to build. Tracking people's sightlines, tracking an ultimate, knowing about whether they have an advantage in the duel or not. Okay, pocketing a Tracer duel never works because I die too often. Pocketing a Hanzo duel generally works because the damage boost matters more, or whatever. There's a trillion details that you need to get better at, but it's about not just limit testing for the sake of limit testing. And then I guess tying all that into your approaches is being okay with losing games because your educated limit testing is costing you fights. That's okay. That's all right. You're learning, you're progressing, you're taking the L right now so you take the W later. You're investing your SR into better returns in the future. And then for your own sake, don't be frustrated at you making a mistake, because you know that I am purposefully doing something just to see if it's the right play. I don't know if it's better or not. Like, imagine, like, I know this is like the corniest, cheesiest example they used to give you in elementary school, but let's just use it for the sake of example. Thomas Edison, 999 light bulbs or whatever failed, you know, he has to say that, right? Imagine if he took every single one as like an ego hit, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, when was Thomas Edison a good scientist? Was it on the 1000th light bulb that actually worked? The 654th? The first one? You know what I'm saying? When was he a good scientist? He was a good scientist probably throughout the entire process, but he improved steadily. So for you, it's like, well, if I make that mistake, I'm a bad mercy, or if I make a mistake, I shouldn't be making a mistake. Well, no, stop. You're just testing things. You're testing things. You're a scientist, right? I don't know. Something to consider.
Mercy.
Yeah. I mean, actually, that's true. You are. That's exactly what you're role playing on here. Okay, great. Sleep looks good. 8 hours of sleep is awesome. I don't know. I don't really have a lot of questions more for you. Do you have any questions for me?
Not really. Not as of right now.
Okay. Now I want to encourage you, because I know we had this conversation and it's like, oh, I've got some things to work on. You're gonna go into a game and it's not gonna feel a whole lot different. I promise you. But it's because it's anything that's worth developing or practicing, like this kind of mentality, is going to take a lot of time and a lot of practice. The good news is that this is like, and as I'm sure you're aware, this is a ridiculously helpful life skill for anything, Overwatch or non-Overwatch related. So when it comes to something like this, the reward about improving your mindset about like just trying things, learning from your mistakes, not being afraid to screw up, is really, really helpful, and it's permanent. If you can work at this in Overwatch, it'll help you outside the game. I promise you. It's just going to take some time. And one other thing, don't feel like you have to solve the issue. Improve the issue. Don't solve it. You'll never be perfect, right? We talked about this with the immersive gameplay, right? Are you ever going to respond to mistakes perfectly? Ever? No. Impossible. Can you significantly improve the quality of how you respond to mistakes or how you limit test? Yes, you can. You don't need to be perfect with it for it to be a good thing to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Nothing else?
Yeah, no, nothing else.
Okay. Do we got a code for me?
Yeah, I've got like 6 of them.
Okay. So really quick, do you have the capability to stream Overwatch through Discord?
Yes.
Okay, because my bitrate might be crappy with the internet situation I have right now. So unless you want to see snowy pixels, it might be better if you stream it. And I will tell you, you could get your replay settings all situated too, if they aren't already.
No, they're definitely not.
Okay.
I have no idea.
That's great.
What
Well,
is
you're
good
gonna be a
for
wizard at it by the time we're done. Trust me.
All right, I guess I'll just let me just. No. There you go.
Brilliant. Okay, so let's, while we're here, go into your wait, where are you? So go into the pull up the replay that you want first before we get the settings.
Oh, okay.
Just whatever one you want to start with.
Where is it?
Yep, there it is.
I guess these are from a day ago. These are 3.
Whatever
I
works.
guess feel free to choose.
Doesn't matter. Either one. Recent is good because you might be able to remember a little bit better.
Yeah.
Okay, so Control P, and then escape, and then escape one more time, and then options, and then the replay tab at the far left at the bottom. Yeah, right there. And then start with decrease playback speed, and scroll wheel down for that, and then scroll wheel up for the next one, and then replay back, use Z or Z, and then forward is X. Spectate tab in the far left, just above the replay. Yeah, right there. Yeah, spectate toggle pause at the top. Change that from you change that from C to spacebar. Gonna be easier. And then toggle overlay. You could change that to R. We won't use that a whole lot, but you could change that to R for reload. At the very top, very top.
Oh, this one. Okay.
Yeah. And then escape all out. We're all set. We got one other setting that we have to change, and go into your options B. So different options. It's actually the replay viewer option. So just press B. Yeah, there you go. Scroll down.
Okay.
Yeah, and sadly, these settings are not permanent. This setting you'll have to change every time because Overwatch. And then time skip interval length, change that from 20 to 8. 8 is a good ballpark. You can do 9, 10. Yeah. 8 is just the one I like. And then okay, and then you're good to go. And the only other thing you have to know now is you have to know your F9, F10, F11. You look at your number, you will be F9. Yes. So then
I think I changed it to just number keys because of my keyboard.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, and then you can actually click and drag here because we got 40 seconds. So press N.
Oh boy.
No, you're fine. Press N and just drag over a little bit. Yep, there you go. Perfect. Okay, so talk to me. Look at your comp. What do you think? Press N as well, by the way.
Yeah,
there you go. Perfect.
I mean, we got Farah, we got Soldier, some Moira, Doom.
Right.
Doom's gonna try and go in aggressive.
Right.
And then I can either look to either hit Farah, who will be flying up, or Soldier.
Okay. Now here's the question: why do you pocket Farah and not Doomfist?
Because Doomfist probably gonna go way more deeper in, and Farah has a little bit more safety of being up high in the sky.
Sure.
I always have
sure.
Being a bit safer.
So the last point is accurate. The first point is not. You're right that Doomfist will be going in very deeply, but you might also press right click. You might play some games with the Farah and move your camera way up to the top right, like way in the sky. You will have Farahs that, you see that cloud over there? They'll legitimately hard flank all the way around behind. But you still go with them. Why?
Because then you can help them with the element of surprise, I guess.
Sure.
They need their help.
But why wouldn't you do that with Doomfist? What's the difference between the way a Farah engages and the way a Doomfist engages?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Don't think super philosophically about it.
I mean, Farah engages pretty. I mean, Doomfist goes pretty much in pretty fast.
So the speed, right? In and out.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
And out.
Yeah, Farah's kind of gonna go pretty slow.
Yeah, exactly. Great point. Another question here. Doomfist. What's the second word on that guy's compound name? Fist. So what is
Fist,
he?
yeah.
At what proximity does he engage onto the enemy team?
Very up close.
So is
He's
that something that you're
right
very
there.
happy with?
No, very much not.
That's the takeaway, right? You generally, obviously, cover matters. You don't just want to be flying out in the middle of the open versus hit scan, right? But for Mercy, a lot of it is about keeping your distance from the enemy threats whenever you can, because there's no reason for you to make it easier for them to shoot you. So Doofus is in and out very fast. That's red flag number 1. Red flag number 2, though, is how unbelievably close he gets to the enemy team and how uncomfortable that is for you. So it's not that he goes in super deep, because Afara will go in super deep, but Afara goes in super deep while still maintaining distance, usually. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so the reason why that's important is you can look at the people that you're more often than not going to be pocketing or damage boosting or healing. It's generally people that don't get up into the middle of the enemy team whenever you can. Make sense? Okay. Like if you're on the enemy team, who would you pocket?
Probably on the world.
It's a replay viewer bug. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Okay. Probably who's like further? I would say either Hanzo.
Sure.
Because he's kind of aggressive, or Junk.
Yeah.
Well, not Junk in that case, but Hanzo here.
Yeah. So you kind of you're like the Hanzo because he's aggressive, because he's doing something. However, he's aggressive while still keeping some distance. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's
exactly,
still right. So like a Junkrat maybe dive bombing the enemy backline. Damage boost Junkrat's great, but not if he's dive bombing the enemy backline. Right?
Yeah, no.
Maybe if he's got Valk, yeah, but yeah. Okay, let's go back to your POV F9 and let's take a look. Spacebar? Yeah, you're good to go. And you're gonna mess up the controls a little bit at first, but you'll get very fluid with it. So this is like a good example of like finding the balance with how you can position. So go back just a wee little bit here. You don't get punished for it. Press Z 2 times. One more time. Perfect. So, and then pause right. One more second. No, you're good. You're good. Right now.
Yep.
Now, I know it's tricky here because you're thinking, I'm pocketing my Farah. What am I supposed to do here? So you tell me, how do you min-max your survivability given what your Farah is doing? Right click for me. How should you position? How should you manage your GA? How should you super jump and so on?
I guess I could go up more, try and either get a lot of height here.
Yes.
Or
yes.
I could try and like go back.
Yeah, try and greed the beam.
The range.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to like fly to her at some point because the beam's gonna break. But you can abuse the grace period, right? Let her fly out of beam range for what is it? A second? How long is the grace period? Somewhere around there.
I think it's a 1.5.
Yeah, 1.5. So 1.5 seconds, and then at the last second, fly up, cancel with a super jump up and over her head, and move your camera up a little higher here and a little bit further forward because she's gonna move forward here, right? Do you see how much harder this is for the enemy Hanzo and Sigma and so on to punish you for being out in the open?
Yeah.
Right? So you're like, where's the balance? I'm in plat diamond. Like, people don't play cover like they used to, so I have to fly out in the open. Sure, but you could be in cover a little bit more. You could be a little bit higher in the air, right? Make the best of the situation, right? Okay. So, I mean, obviously you have to pocket the far here, but you could definitely squeeze more out of it. Okay, let's keep going. So, abuse your grace period and get the verticality out of it, because this is a disaster. The pocket priority is obviously fine, and you do a good job balancing your damage and heal beam, by the way. Very nice job. Kind of what we were looking for there. But do you see, as soon as your Doomfist is behind cover, you should have been right back on the Farah.
Oh, okay.
You kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, like right here?
Yes, as soon because he was trapped, right? So you healed him because he was trapped. Totally fine with that. I'm good with that. But right now, I mean, half of a second later, immediately get that beam right back on.
Yeah. Okay. As soon as he's like safe, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. Because he'll get the HP from your Moira. You don't need to worry about him.
Yeah.
Again, you're just a little slow. Because, like, I know you're like, oh, my soldier was half. You could tap a beam on him. But as soon as your Farah goes in, the soldier doesn't need healing. The Farah needs pocket. Okay. Right? So you're just a little bit slow. Like, you consistently sing it. Was that 3 or 4 times in a row now? Where you're just a little slow.
Yeah.
Now, what was perfect about that little engaged. Those 20 seconds. Your guardian angel usage was whatever. Your pocket was whatever. Not great. But what was good? Here's the tip. Press F2 and then press Z 2 or 3 times.
This part?
Yeah, do it one more time. Who can he not see?
Me.
Yeah, and then you fly out a little bit too far here.
Yeah.
But look at where you go immediately afterwards. You see that?
Yeah.
You're not even on his screen for 90% of the time that you're there. So was it perfect here? No. But not bad. Nice work. All right, let's go back to your POV and let's keep going. I mean, it's obviously important even without the Hanzo because the Ana's there too. Good Ana will be looking for that, you know. So, go back. What's the solution? Because you know who you should be pocketing, but you also know why you didn't pocket him. Because what would that involve you doing?
I think because there was no one here because they all died. So I was like trying to find a way. I was hoping this Moira would come back more and I could
super jump
up. I could try and I was looking to possibly like fly here,
slingshot back
up to, here.
Turn your camera.
I was a little nervous with.
You know
because
what?
I'd be going right in front of the Hanzo.
This is where I would. I think my heart. This is where like you may not know the answer to this, right? My heart says that a very good Mercy with perfect movement gets away with it, even in Grandmaster.
Okay.
So my point is that do it, but do it perfectly. If you mess it up, the problem wasn't the decision. The problem was the mechanical execution. But how are you supposed to get good at it without practicing?
Okay.
You kind of see what I'm saying? I understand why you don't pocket this guy because you don't think you can get to him safely. But you know what? I think it's worth a shot. There's no hit scan besides the Ana. I don't think they're gonna one shot you here. So what I would do is you know the tech, right? You GA, flip your camera, bounce the other direction up onto the bridge.
Yeah.
You do that, you save the soldier's life.
Okay.
I think it's worth the risk.
Or is the limit testing, I guess.
Yeah, but right. And if this fails, you would have to go back and look at it. And what would you be looking for?
And then, it would be like, why? Was it well, in this case, we would know it was a good decision. So it would just be, if I failed, it's either I got unlucky because I got killed for it, or it's I messed up the tech.
Maybe you mess up the tech. Maybe if the Hanzo hits a ridiculous shot, you know, you're going to have to use your gut a little bit. You're not always going to know for sure if it was a good play or not. But what you are going to be able to do is you're going to know for sure on 30, 40, 50% of the time, right? You don't have to know the answer always when you're coaching yourself. You just have to be able to, but you will know the answer about half the time. Oh, that was objectively bad. That was objectively good. Focus on those plays. The ones that you're not super sure about, it's not a big deal. That's not what's keeping you in plat. You know, so this one, I think this is worth a shot. I think it was worth a shot. It would take good mechanics, but guess what? That's why we're here, right?
Yep.
Because you look at this and you're like, I think this dies without it, right? So, so you might as well. There's not like there's a lot of like, oh, you know, I'm gonna throw the fight. I mean, the fight's lost if you don't do that. I think.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's no reason not to. Farah's back. I don't think you realize that. Yeah, okay,
no.
it's okay. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. Valk is probably good around now. Oh man, does she not have fade? Ooh. Oh, that's unfortunate. I think the Valk could have been a little bit sooner.
Okay.
Just as soon as this fight like starts to get juicy, you know what I'm saying? I know you're in the middle of a coal, but like the Valk lasts forever. So like there's not a real big reason to like, oh, I have to wait until things get really bad. At that point in time, it might be too late, right? You might have missed that extra movement. You might have missed that self-healing. You might have missed the safer res. I would be a little bit more proactive with it.
Okay.
Good pocket priority, by the way. I like that we're pocketing Soldier over Farah, given the positioning there. That was smart. I mean, really, that was smart.
I was waiting.
I mean, that was smart, right? That's exactly what we want. And hey, check. positioning, right? Beautiful job. Beautiful job. Now, you can already tell things are about to get really hairy right here. We're going to have the same conversation that we had about 5, 6, 7 minutes ago, right? So what's the solution? What should you do?
Well, pocket fire in this case.
Yeah.
I mean, she's really aggressive right now.
Right. So tech though. Tech.
Yeah, but tech, yeah.
What do you got?
So like pocketing her, but still being behind
right.
the wall, but in range.
Right. So abuse the grace period. Reverse, either bounce off of her to keep abusing the grace period. Right. You know what I'm talking about, right? So you GA and reverse slingshot back. GA and reverse slingshot back. Or you do what we talked about earlier. Up. Right? Go up, right? Go up higher, right? So it's even harder for them to hit the shot. So let's see what you do. Kind of, yeah. A little bit of verticality there. Yep. You see it? That was good.
Yeah.
That was nice. Also good pocket on the visor. Your pocket priority has been a strength. I think you've done it's definitely showing that you've been working at it. It's not perfect, but but we don't need perfect to improve. It's quite good. Good pocket priority even here. Yeah, a little bit slow on that, but that's more on her.
Okay.
That's more on her. I don't know that you could have pocketed her safely. And Soldier is obviously generally a better pocket target, so I think you're good. Again, we don't need to obsess over what's perfect. We just need to make sure that you're not making any egregious errors and focus on those. Right?
Okay.
Like egregious error, right? You lost track of her. I understand that somebody was trapped. I understand this is not a complicated situation, or this is a complicated situation. Press Z.
I'll be honest. I didn't know at this time. I didn't know where she was.
Mm-hmm.
I probably should have recognized hey, my Pharah's probably back by now, and it wasn't until I basically heard her ulting.
And that keeps happening.
She's up there.
It's the second time now.
Yeah.
The other time she didn't actually do anything aggressive.
It was right there. I noticed, and then I'm like, oh, she's already in.
Right.
This isn't good.
Right. So you're slow again. You need to be a little bit faster. So what's the solution here?
Probably be more aware of my teammates.
Sure. I guess. Okay, because that's too vague, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That's too vague. Because let me be honest with you. How often has your lapse in judgment been bad for your Kiriko or Moira? Right?
Yeah.
Doomfist? Right?
Well, it's not been bad for him.
Right? Not a major
definitely
issue.
Not bad for my Kiriko.
So we've already kind of crossed a few people off the board for us right now.
Yeah.
So if you really have to choose your battles here, I cannot lose track of Farah, right? Now, what if your Farah is super passive?
Well, then don't worry about her as much.
Right? You kind of see what I'm saying, though. So
she's been aggressive.
She has been
80% of this game.
Right? She has been. She's a very aggressive Farah, and there's your value, right? So our point is this: it's a lot like ult tracking, or I just coached a Widowmaker yesterday, and we were talking about dealing with counters, and the way to deal with counters is to stop worrying about your counters, worry about your counter. Choose one.
Okay.
So for you, it's like here, if you were to choose one person to never lose track of, it'd be your Farah. Not just because it's Farah, but because of how she's been playing, right? And so that's your challenge. Now, does that mean you never care about your backline? No. What if you're running a Zen and they're on Sombra Tracer, right? I would probably prioritize keeping track of my Zen over anything else, even over my Farah, right? So that's what I'm saying.
Alright, because I know sometimes I'll go into fights, I'll tab and I'll be like, oh, Soldier has visor. I need to make sure Soldier doesn't die or something, right?
So
So I guess in this case, it's not necessarily an ult, but just recognizing who's getting the most value out of my team, and I should be with them.
Yeah, sure. If you want to prioritize your Soldier this particular fight, not this particular fight, but the previous fight because he had visor, I'm down with that. But then as soon as he uses visor, what do you go back to? You know what I'm saying, right? So if you want to think about your ults and do that, that's fine. That's level 2, right? That's even more complicated than what you're doing. I'm down for that if you can handle it, but don't let it be at the expense of doing level 1, right? Is right. Keep your eye on that guy, So okay, that's the key thing. It's not just about because the thing is oh, I need to be more aware of my team. That's very hard to act on. I mean, it's a big topic. It's work on your positioning. Well, what about my positioning, right? If I were to say I mean, it's too soon now, but if we were to say you needed to work on your GAs, we would be talking more about your grace period, abusing your grace period, and getting verticality when somebody is aggressive, right? Not just work on your GAs. That's vague. That's not good enough advice.
Okay.
Right? Okay, let's keep going. But we don't know that for yet. Let's keep watching. Let's see what else we got to work on. You responded well. Obviously, beam breaks. It's kind of a goof up.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. That's okay. That's okay. Little goof up. Good pocket here. Obviously, he's very aggressive. You're keeping your distance as well. Do you notice that? Oh, you almost dodged it. Oh, it's so unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's okay. I think you played that one quite well. I think it was just a little bit unfortunate. It's a shame your Farah died. That's the takeaway, right?
Yeah.
Your Farah died, that's why you lost.
Yeah.
That's
and
okay.
I probably could have prevented that.
Sure could have.
Unlucky.
Yep, it happens. The question is were you still thinking about that at this point in time in the VOD?
No.
Yeah, I hope not.
Not anymore.
I hope not. Good Valk. Really nice Valk. Really nice Valk. Look at all the cooldowns you're forcing with just the damage boost, right? They're all on the back foot. Like, walking up that far the ramp without dying on this map is an accomplishment enough. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. See, I was questioning some of these.
No, this is fine.
Sometimes I would be questioning Valk, where it's like, do I hit it like earlier, or like just before they're about to start, or should I wait till they're actually
I think
like kind of moshed together?
The fight starts. The second thing is starting to go. Because it's such a long ultimate, you can ego it and just let your... Because if they try to kite your Valk, look at how much space that your team got off of this, right?
Yeah, massive, yeah.
It's hard to feel the tangible effects of Valk. That's the hard point. When you don't get immediate feedback, like my trance countered their ult, it's hard to know if it was a good ultimate. That's why Valk is hard.
Yeah.
Because you don't get immediate feedback. But you could look at this and look at the space that you guys got and be like, yeah, we would not have been here without Valk. I've honestly not really been paying a whole lot of attention to what you've been doing, so I'm not gonna lie to you. I have no idea. My heart says you probably played this one pretty well. What do you think? Should we keep going?
Yeah, I think I did all right there.
Because
I got the soldier visor.
Yeah.
I played pretty back. I was on the opposite side.
I saw that.
It was a little risky. Yeah.
I saw that. But you kept your distance,
but, I mean,
right?
They didn't. Yeah, exactly. And I was still in range to GA across.
Sure.
If someone ever was
Good
there.
pocket here. Don't lose track of your soldier. Look at that. See? Yes, that's what you were missing with your Farah, right? You didn't forget about your soldier, which obviously if we reevaluated it once your Farah swapped, soldier's probably the play here, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't have the HP or the defensive cooldowns your May has. He plays a little bit further away, so he's more attracted to pocket. And sure enough, you're on doom, but it's like you were waiting for soldier to do something. And when he did something, you were ready. It's good. It's good. Very nice.
Oh, that one I'm back into.
Well, let's go back. Because that's not going to win this fight, but I want to know whether this is a habit for you. Play? What was the mistake?
Go
back again. Go back again and use your scroll wheel here too. This will be helpful. Scroll it down just a little bit. Scroll wheel down a little bit. There you go. A little bit further down.
Sigma pushing forward.
Yeah. So where should you be right now?
Further back.
Further back, or
over to the left.
So what tech here? You've used your GA. Oh crap! What should you do?
Either slingshot back or to the left.
Yep. Bounce. Right. Slingshot or bounce.
Yeah.
I like using the term bounce, but slingshot's fine too.
And I go forward.
Right, and you go forward. You're thinking, oh, May needs help. May's got ice block, and even if she didn't have ice block, for you to assist this May, it probably costs you your life. So yeah, not so good.
I was going for Doomfist.
Oh well, that too. Yeah. Okay. Was for the res?
No, I wasn't going for res.
Okay. I don't know, because he was dead. He was dead.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, resing that. There's 3 people around.
I was gonna say. Okay, let's keep going. We see that flux we can be irritated at. The other one was like, I think you played okay. That one, no, not so okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Ryan. Pause. Who should you be keeping track of on your team? This is a trick question.
Ryan.
Sure.
All right, I guess.
Who's your priority target?
Right now,
Well, who's your priority pocket, right? Remember we talked about we want to keep track of one person, right?
it would be whoever's gonna probably take some off angle or something.
Maybe Cass, maybe Hanzo. This is one
Yeah,
where I'm not
Cass,
really, I
Hanzo.
don't really know. So here's, you've got an
Yeah.
option. You could, if you think it can handle both, you could keep an eye on both, right?
Mhm.
If you're not so sure, then just pick one and roll with it.
Yeah.
I don't think it really matters. I mean, Ryan's the play here, but like pretty soon you're gonna need to be on that Cass.
Okay. So there are still like priorities. It's just obviously like if they're playing passive, you don't put your beam.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. Like right now, you're on this Rhine, but you're not. You're very tunnel on this Rhine, but I don't want the Cassie to walk into your sightlines. I want you to be already looking to see if he's taking an angle. Like right now, this is good. Good. Quickly back in the castle. You see, you're too slow. And now he almost died for that. You see that?
Yeah.
It's kind of similar to the Doomfist where you got to crit tank. I mean, fine, get him whatever back to full, or not even full, but just out of danger. But immediately get back on that DPS, especially, I mean, for crying out loud. Look at how he was positioned. Press Z.
Yeah, he was up there.
He was up there, right? You will keep him alive. You may not be able to keep your Ryan alive.
Yeah.
Right now, Ryan's in cover.
Right, especially there, yeah.
Yeah, your tech was good. The bounce was good. But this guy has to be kept up. Because even if he doesn't die, if he backs up, he's not doing damage. And that's your fault.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And thank God he had a roll.
yeah, exactly. Valk is good. I would stay beamed on Cassidy though. See? You see?
Okay.
You see?
Yeah.
I mean, look at who dies here. It's not the right. It's both squishies that should have been beamed.
Okay.
And remember, prevention is worth a pound of cure. If you've been able to damage boost those guys, maybe they don't get to the point in time where they're dead. Okay. Maybe that tree's broken. Maybe that Torbjorn in the back is dead. You kind of, maybe that Ana has to defensively nade instead of offensively nade. So you're leaning too heavily to the tank on the front line. Press Z, but remember, aggression. What does an aggression for a Cassidy look like?
Probably mid range.
Right, what he's doing right now. No.
Exactly. Yeah, that's.
He's actually more aggressive than your Reinhardt. You see that?
Yeah.
Why? What's your Reinhardt doing?
What he should be doing.
Right.
He's like behind a wall.
That's it. Right. He's behind a wall. He's fine. Your Cassidy is not fine.
Direct open.
Right.
Yeah, no.
So either he lives, this Cassidy kills 2 people or he dies. There's no in between. And you're gonna be the one that decides on whether that happens or not.
And yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. It happens, but it's good to point out.
Okay.
Nice.
This is like the end of it, so I just missed it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good try. You almost popped off there. Okay, let's keep going. So let's watch a couple more fights before. No, we got time. Let's watch some more fights. Let's watch some more fights and then let's see if we can.
I clutched the last ending of this. That's
okay. All right. Well, let's click press N and then drag. Save you some time.
Oh yeah, let's just.
Yeah, just drag it over.
Whoa,
it's like
not that far.
Yeah, like a little more. A little more. Okay, so default target, obviously.
Sojourn.
Sojourn, right? So always track where your Sojourn is, right?
Yep.
But if she plays super passive, you're willing to track with her, but don't lose her. That's the thing. Don't lose her.
Okay. So definitely just focusing on the best priority target, but not necessarily pocketing them.
Yeah. I mean, be flexible. But our point is that earlier with the Pharah, you would lose track of the Pharah's positioning, and then she would die or she'd mess up. So we want you to track the one person that you think is the most important, just to practice. The best mercies can track 4 people. You're not there yet. Track 1. Start with that.
Nope.
but see right there. That was good. She would have died if you lost track of her there. She would have died. You didn't forget. So you just kept her alive. Beautiful. Good. Again. Good. Just saved her life again. Fine. Get right back in that Sojourn. Nice. Right back in that Sojourn.
Should already be back to her, yeah.
Yeah, right back in that Sojourn. I mean, honestly, like, you're doing okay here. You just need to clean up the details a little bit, right?
Let me just... Sorry, I'm also partly taking notes for this, so focus... I mean, yeah, I'm sure we'll just, focus on... Well, I just put focus on tracking best
Yes. Now,
best pocket, I guess. I don't
yes,
know.
yeah. I mean, the person that demands your attention, the person who you think is most important. Now, again, I'm not saying that that's the most optimal way to play Mercy at the highest rank, but what we're doing is we're stair-stepping you to being able to, because remember, keeping track of your team is very important, but you're not able to do that consistently just yet. I can't do that. I'm too stupid, right? I'm not good enough. But one step at a time. If you're able to keep track of a Sojourn, what about 2 people a couple months from now? What about 3 people a couple of months from now? And the reason that we prioritize Sojourn is because she's the one that's probably going to be taking most of your beam whenever you can.
And at some point, I'll just be doing it automatically.
Exactly. You're already doing a lot of things automatically. You're just not doing enough things automatically.
Enough things, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Nice, good slingshot there. I would have also been happy with a bounce up in the air, you know. Okay. But I think the bounce, the slingshot back was probably better. I don't love this Valk. Let's talk about why. Press Z.
There's not really a fight, is there?
Right. There's not really a fight.
There's just a Genji dashing.
Exactly.
Everyone else is.
Exactly, and that's it. It's not like, oh, you vouched too early. The fight hadn't even started yet.
Yeah.
You know, so meh. They're just gonna press S and then nothing's gonna happen, right? Okay, well, that's huge. You guys get a pin. That's helpful. But even then, that's not really a fight win, you know. So just use it when the fight starts, when tanks start trading. Nothing was happening. Not a good value.
Okay.
Nice. This is all good. He's crit. He's doing stuff. Pocket him. See, here you're even going to Torb instead of Sojourn just because of how he's positioned. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But then you're back on the Sojourn. That's good.
Mm-hmm. And now she... Okay, there you go.
I appreciate what you're doing with your positioning there, with like trying to hug the wall. Mm-hmm. Go for it right now. Go for it. You just saw punched. Go for it. Yeah, your window's closed. That's okay.
Yeah. Not
bad, not smoothly executed, but you had the right idea. With the verticality there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another... Probably not something now, but the res is definitely one. Those are the worst ones, is where it's kind of like a pick early, and then it's like, should I go for it? Should I not?
Well, okay, do you notice what I was gauging in my brain when I was deciding whether the res was good or not? Obviously, behind cover, behind positioning, right? Yeah. But what else were we talking about?
The stun.
The stun, the punch, right? Something. Now, that's hard to do, though, because you look at their comp, you gotta know punch, right? But what if they're on Winston? You got to know if he's going to jump you, right? Does he have jump? Does he have bubble? Does that Sombra have hack? Right? There's a trillion things I can ruin res. So it's in the moment being able to quickly read the situation, right? So again, it goes back to our point when we're asking whether the res was good or not. It's not a vague feeling. It's a specific set of cooldowns or positions or whatever. And over time, you need to be able to track those automatically. So if you wanted to improve your res, you would try to practice one thing at a time, which would be like, are the enemy team in a position to punish it? And if not, go for it. And if it doesn't work, try and think about why it didn't work.
Got it.
It's fine.
That Doom is crazy.
Yeah. Good Valk. I mean, it feels bad, but like the fight was starting. I mean, it's okay. This fight is still going, right? Your Valk is still useful. You guys need to win this fight if you can. I don't think you guys win this fight without your Valk. To be honest. This fight is still winnable. I mean, look at this. Like, the fact that you guys haven't lost this fight, it's your Valk. You did a good job. Nice movement, mate. That was beautiful. Perfect. Good verticality there. Nice job. The fact that you're holding this space right here is all due to your Valk. Nice job.
Nice. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Those are the things that I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I would practice knowing those things, you know? Practice thinking about it in the moment. Hey, do I like, you can go back in the replay viewer, you know? Take a look. Because there's no way that you would have won this fight, or like even held this fight without it. No way.
That's pretty far. Let's go back to... This is when I pop it.
Right? So you try to stall, unfortunate. That's okay.
Yeah, I'm
AoE damage boost, AoE pocket, and by the way, the other benefit of Valk is the fact that you don't have to worry about yourself, and that your support doesn't have to worry about you. you are completely a free resource. Nobody cares about you right now. They're all getting AoE healing. They're all getting AoE damage boost without having to worry about you. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And it also means that because you're able to play just kind of in the air, you can focus on what you can do to keep other people alive and not what you need to do to keep yourself alive.
Okay.
You know? Like I said, it's hard to get immediate feedback there. Nice little bounce. But it's good to try and be objective about those things, you know, because you might not always know for sure. Let's take a look at like one more fight here. Good res. You know he's safe.
Yep.
Losing your beam a little bit, but I appreciate the awareness on the flank there. Oh, that sucks. That's okay. That's okay. That's crazy. You have another Valk. Dying cart. Maybe. Whoa, maybe not. Whoa, I was thinking you guys. No way. Mate, you are sweating out here. I don't know that I would have GA'd into the Valk. I think the Valk itself is okay, but I don't know that I would GA into it, right? That felt kind of silly. Because your beam wasn't going to break there, right?
Yeah.
So why GA, you know? All it does is put you closer for no reason.
I know I Valk because I'm like, if I get my team is sort of coming back.
You lose this map if you don't Valk.
Yeah, I was gonna that too. I was like, yeah, I need to Valk here. Plus, I can get the res. Like, if I get Reinhardt's res and I Valk, this is what we'll turn.
Either you or your Torb dies if you don't Valk. So then they stagger and then you don't even get a Reaping test. Okay, let's stop there. Let's stop there. Let's write notes and goals. I know you said you were writing some goals. Sure. Let's write some more. Mercy. So I want to. We didn't write up necessarily a lot of goals for the general like mentality stuff and the way that you're approaching things. But I want to encourage you that stuff is very important. I have this recorded. I'll get this to you as soon as I can once my upload speed's fixed next couple of days. So you can go back and watch it again. But that stuff is very important. But for Mercy specifically, skills specifically, what specific skills do you need to practice?
I guess tracking my teammates, or not my teammate, the person who I'm getting the most value out of.
Teammate. Practice tracking one priority teammate's positioning. Yeah. Now notice that we didn't say practice pocketing them, because sometimes you will, sometimes you won't, but never lose track of them. Never lose track of them. Yeah. That way you know when they need pocket, because you spend a lot of time pocketing Torb on that defense, and you should, and you needed to, right? But he had the angle, right? He was crit like half the game, right? But you need to know where Soldier was. So, and I think actually on defense you did a really nice job of it. It was the attack that wasn't as good. So my point is that the skills there, right? The skills there, but you're not consistent enough at it, So we need to put more effort. Yeah. Okay, what other skills?
Definitely. I think it was the positioning.
Positioning. What about your positioning?
Like being in better spots, or making it harder for the enemy to hit you
when you need to pocket.
Well, positioning for pocketing.
Bounce, super jump, right up. Now again, that was a skill that you weren't bad at, but sometimes you made the wrong decision. Sometimes you didn't abuse the grace period. I want to throw that one in there as well. Abusing beam grace period, where you could heal them through walls. You weren't utilizing that. First, I mean, really the first fight was the ugliest one, where you just kind of flew into the open to follow the Pharah. But you got to look at that and be like, I need to pocket this person, but man, I can make it so much harder for me to be shot. And you didn't do that, right? And I think that's where, if we were to look back at this VOD and slow it down to like 0.5 speed and go a lot more in detail, I think you'll catch a lot more fights where that stuff was happening. Okay. Anything else? What about Valk?
Valk would be like as the fight's starting.
Valk as the fight starts. Remember, may not may not feel immediate positive reinforcement doesn't mean it was a bad Valk. And it's actually kind of a trap with Valk, where like, because people want immediate positive reinforcement, they'll pursue the mid-fight Valks, where, oh no, we lost somebody, they used an ultimate, now I'm gonna Valk to counter it. But that's totally wrong way to approach it, because that's not how the ultimate works, right? It'd be like the equivalent of like trying to get into exercise after you had like a life debilitating knee injury, right? It's like, it's kind of too late at that point. In fact, you might not even be able to, you're not going to even be able to overcome it. So it's about prevention rather than the cure. So for Valk, is like, you might not get that immediate reinforcement. Sometimes it's okay to Valk to pop a res. I think that's totally fine. But a lot of times it's just about the fight starts, I Valk. It's all the intangible value, my survivability, the extra little bit of healing, the extra bit of damage, the extra bit of vision that I can utilize. And I think you did quite well with most of your Valks, but not all of them.
Yeah. I think I could also improve on the beam priority, like during Valk. That's something that I thought was a little.
I agree.
Like I would be on the Reinhardt and not on the. I think because I was relying on the chain part, but I probably should just still have my beam on the right person.
Yeah.
Even though it's Valk.
And be more like, hey, if it gets somebody else, awesome. If it doesn't,
exactly.
Not the end of the world. Like, there's a balance there, right? Because you're like, oh, I'm going to heal 3 people, but what if that one person on the angle is way more important than the 3 people?
Exactly. Or just more important, which in case was Cassidy in that moment. So.
Okay. Anything else? Those are the big ones for me.
Yeah. I think as far as the mental stuff, we would just be play like on more days, so maybe more like 5+ days a week, but only focusing in like 3 to 4 games. Yeah.
A little bit more energy, a little bit more focus, and then obviously, you'll have a little bit more energy during that point in time. Okay. Any questions?
Definitely 2 fight rule stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Don't let perfection, like I have to be focused for the whole game, get in the way of you doing the right thing, That's the key thing. All right, mate.